All right, we are live on Instagram. No, not Instagram. Oh my God, YouTube. We have the amazing Jonah Korchin with us today. Unfortunately, Caroline will not be with us today, but Jonah is a wonderful stand-in. He's going to talk to us about how to do direct to agent on the creative side. So he gave us all the bits and pieces and the gems that we needed to know on the cash side, but now we're going to focus a little bit more on the creative side. So please, as you have your questions, put them in the comments. Make sure you're introducing yourself, letting us know who you are, what you're up to, and how we can be of service to you. Please like and share this if you think it's valuable to people who are just getting started or have questions about doing creative deals with agents. And here comes our amazing Jonah Korchin. Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how are
I,
you?
I actually, I actually wasn't even muted. I was like, I saw in the upper right corner, it said stream to your StreamYard. And I was like, oh, I can just stream this to my StreamYard? So I was just setting that up. I hope you don't mind. I feel like that'll just get more people.
No, I
So
love it.
now, so this is live on my YouTube and my Facebook as well right now.
Fantastic.
Theoretically, I don't know if it is or not.
Actually, as you say that, because I said we're live on Instagram, I'm like, wait, no, we're not. We're live on YouTube, and I do like to go live on Instagram to remind people that hey,
Where's Caroline?
She just got caught up with some deals that she's doing, so she's like, man, I really want to be there today. So I'm like, it's okay, girl. Go lock up those contracts. We'll figure it out later. And then I'm like, sell them to me. Sell them to me. So
I love it.
no,
Cool.
but if there is no other amazing stand-in, I mean, come on, it's Jonah. Like,
no, I'm happy to be here. Every time I'm here, I'm always having a good time, right? Like I'm always here, always down to explain it with people. I mean, yeah. When you told me by popular demand you wanted a part two, I'm like, always.
yeah,
It's by popular demand. Come on now.
right on. Let me see. So I'm going to put DTA creative deals so that people know that's what we're going to focus on. So you were with us a couple of weeks ago, and you were talking to us about
Cash deals.
direct to agent cash sales. Yeah. And you dropped so many gems. So if you guys are here, go check out the other episode we did with Jonah, because not only did he give us all this amazing information during the podcast, he actually gave you links and like tangible things to take with you, like a legit business plan to make direct to agent cash work. So anywho,
also, if you're too busy, I just decided, because I'm like, you know what? Everyone keeps asking me for resources and I'm way too lazy. I literally have made it now where I put a link in my bio. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see the link in my bio, and then you get access to my Google Drive, which is literally every template, every resource, everything you could ever possibly need. You just have it straight to my business's Google Drive. You won't be able to, you have to make a copy. I'm not going to, if you can't figure out Google Drive and know how to make a copy, then so be it. But just like, I give away my business for free, basically. So all you have to do is follow me on Instagram for that.
Who taught you to do that? Like, why are you so giving?
Both Jamil and Pace, to be honest. I think they both feel like do that. And like, I just have known that it's just way better to like give it out for free, right? And like it always just comes back to you. There's always things that just come back to you. That's just a belief of mine in the universe, is that like everything comes back to you. Like I've gotten to the point, and I feel like part of it is just because I'm so giving. It's like I get like a deal a month and just people texting me. Like I just would get like a 10, 20K deal texting me. Or maybe like I'll go on Facebook or something. Like today I saw on Facebook, do you know Chris Hartman? You know her? I don't know if you know her. She's in SubTo. She posted a duplex in New Orleans and tagged me and a bunch of people in it.
I actually was messaging with her before we went to New Orleans last year. Yes.
So I hit her up And I was like, and this is a deal I'll do with anybody. I have a ton of private money right now. Like I kind of been naturally raising private money, but like don't have enough deals for it. So what I told her, it's like, hey, so I don't want to manage anything at all, especially in New Orleans. But I know you need an assignment fee on this. So how about this? How about I pay your assignment fee and then you manage it? I'll bring all the money. You manage it. I get 50% of the house. You get 50% of the house. 50% for managing it. You get your assignment fee for finding it. And then I get 50% for bringing the money. And she's like, she might have already assigned it before I called her, but that's one of the types of deals I'm starting to do now, where I like have a ton of money and I'd rather be part of these deals but not do anything. So anyway, we're really off agent outreach, but this was just like a fun thing since like you had to talk about like things coming to me.
Well, one of the focuses is creative deals, and this is how you creatively put yourself in. Here's what I will say though, Jonah, and maybe you've known her long enough. I have started getting people in my DMs and my messages and whatever, and they want me to be a part of their deals. They're like, oh, I really want to do a deal with you. And trust me, I'm super, super flattered. But their perspective is for us to like stay together in the deals. And I'm like, we've never even met face to face and you're asking me to marry you. That's sort of my like perspective, right? I've had, and maybe this is for another episode, I've had bad partners already where I've had to like pay a partner out because, all despite our abilities to we had upfront contracts. It was just, and that's why we were able to part, right? Like, hey, you didn't do your part of the bargain, right? And they're like, yeah. So it was easier to part, to be honest with you. And it's also because I'm a really direct person. I was kind though. And so it was easier to part, but I've had to have those parts, and so anyway, all to say is I don't jump in even to owning rap notes with anybody. Like I want to know these people at least a year or two, kind of get some sense of their values, who they are. Do I jive with them? If we're like, I even go through like a worst case scenario stuff, like, hey, worst case scenario, what would you do? Just so that I know, like, okay, it's okay if you would sell. I wouldn't. I would like, I would keep it and figure out a way. Like, how are we under pressure? That sort of thing.
No, that's really smart. And I probably also put in like some provisions, especially on that type of deal where I'm bringing like all the money, is I would be like, okay, like here's what happens if you don't operate it. I'm going to get the entire house, right? And by getting the entire house, I get the entire business because we'll probably buy it in LLC. Mm-hmm. Chris, I've known for quite a while. We've gone back and forth in DMs for a while. I haven't done a deal with her yet, but I would review stuff. Honestly, your way is a lot better. I've also done the same thing where I'll partner with people and I'll be like, man, that sucked. That did not work out the way I thought it would, right?
Yeah.
Most of the times how I partner with people is I'll bring, I will find the deal, bring half the money, and then they operate the deal and bring half the money. Usually that's how I do it. This one was just an interesting one because I'm like, this seems like a great deal. And I just wanted to insert myself and kind of beat everybody else. There's no way I'm going to operate a duplex in New Orleans. I have nothing there. I've never done a deal in New Orleans. It's not going to freaking happen, right? Unless I have an operator. So I asked her, literally, it was like in the comments, I was like, do you know of any operators for this? I might be interested. And she's like, I'll operate it. I'm like, okay, why are you even assigning this then? And then I talked to her about it. Yeah. And she's just like, yeah, we just need some like money right now. I'm like, okay, well, here's a way where you get paid for your part of finding it. And then 50-50 it this way. Because that's how I would normally do it, right? So it's an interesting idea. And maybe I'll think about it too. Like maybe it makes more sense where we still split the money and we still pay her their wholesaling company an assignment fee. I got to think about it. Because like if I was normally buying it and I was with an operator, I would have the operator put in 50% of the money. Yeah. So maybe I have to re-talk to her and be like, wait a minute, actually, I thought about this. Here's what I would have done if I actually found a different operator. So I think I might have spoken a little too soon about this being too good of a deal because then there's too much risk on my side, right? I don't know. I had this conversation with her like literally 10 minutes before I got on this call. Yeah. So I was just like, I was just thinking about it. But
we're
I'm completely
impulsive.
proud
We're
of others.
visionaries, we're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, yeah. And you're
If
like,
you can make this work, who cares?
no, seriously. I spent over an hour yesterday with somebody who was like, I just need money. I have fix and flip experience. She's a sweetheart, a really nice lady. We went through it all. I underwrote it with her. I thought her numbers were great. We're good to go. I'm like, cool. If I can bring the cash, here's my hard money lender's terms, because she gave me her hard money lender's terms and they were not good. And I was like, or not as good as mine. I was like, cool. And I don't even need to pay my guy until we close. She's like, great. Awesome. So because I had that relationship, we're going to do this together. And then today I get a message that says, hey, one of my friends who said that they were going to give me money is going to give me money after all. So like, I don't need you after all. Right. And I was like, so we went through the whole hour of underwriting. I sent you the JV agreement that you agreed with, and you just hadn't signed it yet. It was one of those things that didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Right. Because I'm like,
yeah,
I understand. Right.
partnerships are hard.
Yeah. And I'm just like, if that's the way that we would start a relationship, I don't know if I would want to do business.
I mean, think about it this way. That one probably was for the better, because probably something else like that would have happened, and then you would have had your money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when people show you who they are, believe them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, no, it makes sense.
And again, putting myself in her shoes, she's like, well, maybe you can be my gator instead. Like, she is trying to get me to maybe help her still. And I just don't know if I want to, because now I'm like, yeah, but then what? Like, what happens when something like, I don't know. It's just now, like, again, if the people show you who they are and you can't be a person of your word when we already had a verbal agreement. And I already said, hey, right now I'm going to contact my private money lender and I'll line us up money. Like, then it's like, you're making me look stupid to my PML. So
anyway. My main partner, my integrator, I don't know if I've told you this, I don't know if we've ever even talked about this, is I recently got an integrator who is my business partner. His name is Tyler Wanaka. He's an Astro student. We've done tons of deals together. That's the great thing about wholesaling, is I can do like 20 deals with you. Or like I can do one and it's not too much risk if you screw me over. But having a dating process is definitely a smarter idea in general. It's hard in the SubTo community, because I'm like, oh yeah, you're SubTo too. That means like you're not like, my guard is down immediately, even though it shouldn't be, right? Because anything, because like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
But I'm saying that's human nature. At the end of the day, money makes people weird. So like, I'm not going to judge her harshly. At the end of the day, she's got her family to feed. She's gonna make more money, not including me, and that's totally cool. But at the end of the day, though, I will judge whether or not I want to do another deal with you, because I prefer people who say, yeah, let's do it together, and they actually say what they do what they say. But let's bring this baby back, because the reason we have you here, so we were just venting for a minute, or to creative deals with real estate agents. So for me, and my partners Landon and Stephen Hunt, Landon Moore, who does Closers Cafe, Stephen Hunt, who's in SubTo, and I've done deals with.
I love Stephen Hunt. Stephen Hunt's a great guy. I love the Hunts in general.
The Hunts are great. Like, I love them.
They have a beautiful new baby. It's great.
Do. I love me my Hunts, so I always call them we're the H teams, because
I helped them out getting a $400K assignment fee. I wasn't part of the deal. I just gave them advice on how wholesaling works, because they just don't even really know how wholesaling works. I'm like, this is gonna be the easiest thing you've ever done. Like, trust me, watch this.
Right. So I've done a flip with them, which I think was one of our higher assignment fees. It was a manufactured home. And then I also wholesaled them a property that we are now listing for them. And we've listed several properties for them. And so they're amazing business partners for us. We love the Hunts. But what we're doing along with them and Landon Moore is we're doing direct to agent right now. Our plan is to evolve to also start teaching about direct to seller, just so that people, once they dip their toes into this marketing game, like, what does it look like for them, and they have the tools to be successful. But the direct to agent creative is sort of where we're pivoting quite a bit, right? We do teach cash, and then bring creative in to know, like, whether or not, like, there's an opportunity. Cash is just easier, guys. Like, if you can do cash, do cash. but creative is the thing that we pivot to. So Jonah, when you and I talked, we talked about you, like, how do you do creative? How do you pitch creative to agents? Like, give us a
So the
lowdown.
first thing to start with is, then this is the base of everything you do, and we talked about this in the last one, is you are a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
So creative financing is just another tool in your belt to solve problems, in my opinion. This is how I feel about it, right? I feel like Pace might have done a few, but other than Pace, the vast majority of agent deals that are creative are subject to deals, not seller financing. It's much, 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 much more common because the problem is one that an agent really has no clue how to solve and really can't make happen, right? I'm not even sure if Kevin Cho, who's like one of the kings of creative with agents, has done anything but really low equity SubTo deals. And here's the reason. Agents, like, it's very hard, in my opinion, to convince an agent to do seller financing, because for them to do creative financing in general, it's usually the last option. They will much rather go for cash every single day of the week because they understand it. It's easier. Their broker approves of it. They know it. They will always go for cash first. The only time I've heard of seller financing working is like if there's a reason the seller is stuck on a number and the agent can't get them off of it for whatever reason, right?
I just canceled one.
Really?
A seller finance deal, yeah.
Well, what happened? You tell me the story.
So
why am I even on this podcast?
No, so actually somebody else negotiated the terms, and the terms were good enough for one buyer that I had. And I sent the terms. I was going to wrap it to my buyer, a 7% interest rate on this property. And he was all for it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Go for it. And then he left for Antigua because I think he's from that area. I want to call it the Caribbean, wherever Antigua is. And he just was not available for me to talk to him. He finally came back Sunday night. I tried to start like getting different buyers, but my last day to cancel was Monday. And so I was like, okay, well, what if I could just rent this out, kind of like partner up with another doctor I know who has money. And I mean, I would even give all like the depreciation away, just as long as like, well, I'll get the upside on the appreciation, and then we would share cash flow. But everyone I was talking to said that they could not afford that rental, like that amount. And I was really surprised because my guy said that he would pay for that. So I was stuck. And, Pace always says, you haven't talked to enough people. But I was really just running out of time. But like I was Googling different group homes, calling them. Nobody wanted this property at that. And I go, well, at the end of the day, the people have spoken and this is too expensive. So even though they were great terms, this house is too expensive. It's why it's still on the market. So I'm like, it's a no deal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm curious, I mean, when you talk to the wholesaler, what type of seller financing terms did they negotiate?
So 10% down. So
10% entry fee or down?
10% down.
Okay.
The 10% was going to cover the commissions. And then 4.75 interest rate for the first 2 years, and then 5.85 for 3 to 5. Now, remember, I was going to wrap this, and he was good with 7% interest rate. And I said, at year 5, I want your refinance. He's like, if I could refinance sooner, I will. I was like, all right, cool. So for me, it was all good because it was going to be to an LLC, not to like a singular person. So for me, it was all good because it was a business. But it didn't work out. So, yeah.
Well, either way, where I was going with that is there has to be a reason they would want to do creative financing to start off with, right? If for seller financing, I bet that thing's been on the market for 90 days at least. The person's not willing to do any price drops either for whatever reason. There must be a reason behind it, right? something like I was told I was never supposed to sell this for less than blah, 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 whatever, right? That's when a seller financing works. Let's go, Andrew. That's baller. That means he literally just paid like the agent's fees and closing costs for it to be 2 to 3% entry fee, a bit more or less, right? Which is awesome. That's amazing. So at least what I've noticed, it is the no equity with agents is the most common way to do creative with agents. I've done like 3 or 4 this year. Through 2 of them were through agents. 2 of them were direct to sellers I was helping out with. The 2 no equity SubTo deals, right? And that is the most common one where the agent just has not really heard of SubTo. There's no equity in it, and all they know is all they've heard of is a short sale. That's all their broker is telling them is what it is, right? Yeah. So we can get into ways of targeting creative financing leads if we want to. I don't do that as much. How I'm doing it, how I'm getting my creative financing deals, my goal or the way I'm doing it is I'm mixing my want to grow my brand with also getting creative financing deals. So what I'm doing right now is I'm networking with real estate agents and being like, getting them to like me. And then I'm going to start having them bring me into their brokerage and do like a luncheon where I'm going to also hire a videographer. I'm going to have them cut it up, edit it for content. And then also I'm going to get creative deals that way, right? Yeah. If you really want in your local market, that's one of the best ways to do it because then you're seen as an authority. Right.
So do you know how I'm always saying like my license is my way of beating out the competition? The fact that you don't have a license actually puts you in a better position than me in this scenario. Why? Because I'm with a specific brokerage. So if I go and I walk into a brokerage that I don't belong to and I'm speaking as an expert, and I may influence those people so much so that they're like, I want to go work where she's at, right? And that's actually happened. Not in the same. I went to this like Facebook coaching thing that this lady, actually a seller that we helped at the end of December, she's an agent coach. So she had me and Marlon on one of one of her webinars, and she was literally like, hey, these are all these agents. And I ended up getting like 2 of her agents in that webinar join my brokerage because they were so their mind was blown with what we're doing, and now they're in my downline. So it's great.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah, true. I mean, I don't know anything about that since I don't have a license. That's an interesting thing.
No, I'm saying that's your competitive advantage to go talk in brokerages. I won't necessarily be able to do that. Yeah.
That's just my main goal right now, right? Is like the few SubTos that I've done, they went well. The ones that I did get from my normal agent outreach, because sometimes I'll just get it from my normal agent outreach and then it'll be a SubTo deal and I'll be like, all right, I'll buy that, right? From my own wholesaling company. And then what I'll do is I will afterwards be like, hey, I should talk to Forever Brokerage. Let me teach everyone about this. I bought this one from you. It went well, right? Nothing's gone wrong. Why not make this happen? Yeah. Right? So yeah, anyways, so that's how I'm doing it. We can get into how the criteria if you really want to target it too, because I know it. I don't do it as much, but I taught my dad how to do it because my dad, I want him to find me some creative financing deals. He wanted to get in the game. I'm like, I think this will be the quickest way you get it, to be honest. I think for an assignment fee, just going on the market, literally going on the market, I looked in Colorado Springs. It took me like 10 minutes to find a really good potential SubTo lead. Sold to a year and a half ago. They're within, it's like 400. They bought it for 400K. They're selling it for 420. Was like a new build. I found like 10 of those leads in an hour. And I was like, man, I feel like my dad's I'm going to pay him like a good 5K immediately just for finding some of these deals. And I was just looking on Zillow randomly. So like, that's just like a buckshot approach. But then there are other ways too, where we could make that happen, where it's, where I can get into more specific ways if that's what we want to do real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. let's get through some questions, because maybe that'll help you kind of figure out.
Focus.
Yeah, like, so Rob's question is kind of like Joel's question, and it's really like, how do you grab people's trust, especially right now when everybody and their mother is calling on agents and talking about SubTo? And I was just talking to, gosh, who was I talking to? Eddie Marin. He's one of my partners out here in Arizona. Somebody I do partner with, somebody I own a note with, Eddie and Tyler, my Bash brothers. And I love those guys. Highly recommend them. Great for doing business with. Yeah. And they were just saying how, and this kind of ties back to Joel, people are getting super excited about creative finance, not taking the time to understand what a good offer looks like. So they're like sending the moon, like whatever they could throw that sticks to the agent. And you're like, you want me to an entry fee of $90,000 for the, like, you know, and it's like, wait, that's more than 10%. And it's kind of a higher pricing point for this community. I'm like, ay, ay, ay. And like, so we were going through an example earlier today. And so for you, like, how do we come back from these wholesalers planting these terrible seeds? Or, you know, as Joel mentioned, like, how do you figure it out? Like, how do you work around people sending offers that are not great? And now you have to kind of find their trust and then kind of rebuild what now somebody has set false expectations to.
Funny thing is I feel like that's a problem, especially in Phoenix. I feel like everyone decided to do the creative financing in Phoenix. Yes. I rarely deal with that in Colorado or California.
No, so I'm in the wrong market, what you're telling me.
Not saying you're in the wrong market, but I'm just throwing it out there. I feel like that's a Phoenix thing, especially. I'll tell you the answer anyways. It's not like I have had it where I'm competing against another SubTo offer. It's just very uncommon. That's why it's really funny hearing this. What I say basically, well, first off, we're talking about somebody who like sent in an awful SubTo, explained it terribly, and now the agent doesn't want to do it at all, or are you competing against another legitimate SubTo offer? We're talking about one or the other, you think? Or just gaining trust in general?
I picked the wrong comment. This was the comment where like agents are getting pissed off because they're like, forget SubTo, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are some things you...
I would just say if like an agent was pissed off that you gave him a SubTo offer, I would first off start by questioning yourself, does SubTo make sense for the seller? Would that be what you recommended to the, if this was your grandma, would you recommend they do a SubTo? Be honest with yourself. Don't think about how much money you're going to make. Think about, are you going, or I'm sorry, is the seller actually getting what they should be getting out of a SubTo where it actually helps them out in the end, right? That's the start. So first off, if it doesn't pass that qualification, then you're in the wrong. The agent actually should be somewhat mad at you. Maybe not mad at you, but like should be blowing you off, to be honest, in my opinion, because you're not actually solving any problems there. You're just trying to get a deal, right? That's how I view it first off. Second off, if it is, so no equity situation, if they're getting mad at you and it's a no equity situation, then then somebody has like told them something wrong about subject to, right? And I would just talk to them and just be like, so, okay, you seem to not like subject to. What is the seller going to do? What's the plan? They have no equity, right? You already told me if they sell it even at this price, they're going to lose $20,000. So what is the plan? Is the plan for them to lose $20,000 and do a short sale? You tell me. Like the way to do it is just being like, back off don't put pressure on, give them spaces to breathe and think and have them think, what am I going to do? Right? How do I solve this problem? It's like, right, because I'm the best way to solve this problem.
Right.
And then it becomes a whole nother conversation, right? So the issue is people just are like, people get frustrated and they're like, they want to go to the agent and be like, no, you don't understand. You're screwing the seller right now. And then me as the agent ego wants to be like, no, 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 no. Who the hell are you? You don't know anything. Well, if you instead just step back for a second and just ask questions that lead them towards the right answer, then like, I mean, what are they going to say? Like, they're going to like, no, it would be insane for them to be like, yeah, no, we're going to go with them losing $20,000 and ruining their credit.
Yeah.
I think it's better for my client.
Right.
They're not going to say that. So the question is you have to first ask yourself, does this make sense to do creative here? And then secondly, ask them, what are they going to do then? Right? And I would start with that. And then also, to prevent it, a good way to prevent it too is, Ingryd, you already said it, do cash first. Always do cash first with agents. Always. Just get it out there, even if you know it's going to get rejected, right? Because then we at least aren't talking about that anymore. It's not like an option that they think they can go back to.
By the way, I love what Carly said, and I use it all the time. There was a fairly good deal in Phoenix. It was a creative deal through an agent, and I said, "Would you let your grandma live there?" They're like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, then it's not a deal for me." It's a good way that I gauge as well. So, okay, so it looks like Larry the Lion Parsons, wants us to help him with the Mesa property. Let's save that on. If it's okay, Larry, let me know if we could do it towards the end of the show, and maybe we could do a live call. What do you think, Jonah?
Up to you. I'm down. I mean, I'm always down for some underwriting.
Heck yeah!
It's always good.
And then Andrew, I think, is continuing to floss. Like, what do you say? I bought a house for $1,000 entry fee, 4% interest rate, on market, low equity, because I solved a problem. We're problem solvers, like Jonah said. That's right.
That's how you do it.
Andrew, I have a problem. I don't own enough low interest rate cash flowing properties. Do you think you can help me with that? I mean, I heard you're a problem solver.
There you go.
So
and that's what the problem a wholesaler solves, right? That's the problem I solve for flippers most of the time, right? Like, so It's always, I mean, business is always based on problem solving. I know we talked about this last time too, but I like really want to emphasize it because I just see everyone forgetting that. And I'm like, guys, 100%. What are you people doing? Everyone is just like, where is your baseline? Your baseline always has to be solving problems. If you're not solving a problem, you're not going to get paid. I literally tell my act managers, I'm like, don't even offer on it if it doesn't have motivation, right? Like, I don't even care. And it's like, but Jonah, it's off market. It's like, okay, why is it off market? Is it off market because they're going to put it on the market in a week, but there's nothing wrong with it? Then it's a complete waste of time, right?
And Jonah, why aren't you doing novations?
Well, I'm talking, this one was it was already remodeled. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You could be an MLS concierge, get them a better dollar figure, and you take a bit off the top. So shout out to Jesse Aguirre, who's been giving me a lot of novation leads because of it. Yeah.
So, okay, tell me what problem. So we're talking now like a normal seller, right? Have you been getting just a lot of normal sellers where you just novation it?
Okay. So I'm going to put a little context here.
Okay.
We are in the world of convenience. Nobody has time to go through the process of filling out paperwork, maybe paying for their lawn to be well taken care of so it looks presentable enough, painting some walls, getting a deep clean. Like, that's generally the kind of entry for novations, right? I'm not suggesting a fix and flip novation. And if you want to do a fix and flip novation, I generally say go do a subtail instead. So take it over SubTo or seller finance, and then sell it on a really short. I'm Ingryd. Somebody just called me Caroline, but I'm cool with being called Caroline. Anywho, yes, SubTo. Because that is a safer spot to be when you actually own the deed. But for novations that I'm seeing now and are become really, really popular, okay, think about the consumer, right? Who's your avatar for these types of deals? The house is more or less ready to go. but they just can't take it to the finish line. Maybe they are going through somewhat financial strain. Maybe they got 20 kids and being able to coordinate cleaning the house, getting the landscaping done, getting the house prepared. Maybe you'll pay for a weekend for them to go to a hotel so that it can be showed. Like that's a solving the problem right there, right? And then because you're this MLS concierge, you're doing the same, you're getting the same rip you would have gotten as a wholesale. So like $10,000-$15,000, let's say, and you're helping them put it on the market and you're dealing with all of that stuff. So I would say $2,000-$3,000 is the most that you'd want to spend on an ovation. Cause like if I lost $2,000, $3,000, I'm gonna be pissed, but I'm not gonna be like completely out of sorts. It's still a lien that you put against the house. And so like you still need to release that lien as part of closing. But it's a way for you to solve a problem for somebody who is a McDonald's consumer of the world. I want it fast, I want it now, and I want it warm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's the thing in my head, though. Here's the thing in my head. If we want to go through the challenging of it, in my head, what I would rather do is just negotiate to the, like, how much is the difference of like how much I can pay with an ovation versus how much would be a cash deal. That's the real question in my head. Because I would rather, if there is motivation there, right? I would rather, for my business, there's a couple reasons why I wouldn't do that in my head of when you're talking about it. You can argue against me and maybe you'll convince me to start doing novations. I don't know. Yeah, like a little boxing match. For me, I would rather just negotiate it lower as a cash deal and wholesale it because that's my business, right? Like if there is a problem, I would want to see the cash deal. Obviously, I'm assuming you went for cash first anyways. We keep saying that. So I'm assuming you tried the cash route, didn't work out. Then the next part is how much spread is there where it's worth it for me, Jonah Korchin, who's running a wholesaling business, to take time out of his day to do this novation. For it to be worth it, I would need like an agent or like contractors out here or somebody to partner with who's like into taking that risk to make that happen. I have a few people in Denver that might be willing to do it.
And that's exactly correct. So let's pause there because it's still a creative opportunity here. That's exactly what you do. You partner with the right agents like Ingryd Hernandez. And we have those people who can help you with those like handyman like fixes. And we take care of all of that. So long as you're paying the bill, coordinating those types of fixes is the stuff we would have had to do with the seller anyway. The seller is looking for convenience. So the problem you're solving for the seller is the convenience of it. Like, hey, I want to sell my house. I think putting it on MLS is the best option, but I just don't want to deal with all the bullshit. Like, okay, cool. I will concierge this for you. That's actually the tagline.
Okay, hold on. If you've been doing that with agents though? Usually if somebody has an agent, they want to put it on the MLS. That makes more sense as a direct to seller opportunity. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, direct to seller. Yeah.
So I don't do any direct to seller. Sorry. That's also another reason. Well, so is this ovation?
We had moved conversations because you said you're absolutely right though. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking in my head. It's like, yeah, wait a minute. The thing is my leads are already have signed a listing agreement with an agent. So most likely at that point, they're already willing to put it on the MLS. That's a great opportunity for a direct to seller where it's close, but they don't want to use an agent, and you're more or less becoming their agent, more or less, but you're doing it in an investor way.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. And you're managing is what that sounds like.
You're putting equitable interest into it. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, because we evolved the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's okay.
Anyway, yes, direct to agent, win them over.
But anywho, so at least for me, where it is like problem solving. At least for me, I really just want this to be emphasized is that if there isn't a problem you're solving, then what are you doing? Even that one and a direct to seller one, the problem you're solving is the convenience factor of not having to deal with the agents at all. Ingryd is dealing with the agents, right? She's now the seller, basically. So literally the real seller, the original seller, has to do nothing. So they get an agent, but they don't have to deal with almost any paperwork, any of the stresses of listing a property, any of the managing of that whatsoever. Ingryd takes that on and basically gives them exactly what they want, and also get them a really high price. So she's doing an amazing job of solving a problem there. It's a great way to solve a problem, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to emphasize that. And again, if you're having trouble getting your creative financing offers through to agents, step one, does it make sense for the seller to do creative financing offers? Step two is question the agent. Why, just question the agent if they're giving you pushback still, and being like, okay, here's how I see it. What are you going to do if you don't do a SubTo deal here? What is the plan? Do you have a plan? Oh, they'll rent it out then. Okay, great. When do you think that would happen? Like, why aren't they renting it out right now? Like, why don't they just do that? I mean, they're having trouble selling it on the market, right? Mm-hmm. What are they waiting for? Oh, they're waiting because they want X. They really want 10K, and the SubTo is not going to let them get that. Oh, wait a minute. Did you know that you actually could get 10K from it? Because sometimes there's just misconceptions in there, right? That's why you keep asking questions. I've had that happen before, where they think a SubTo means that the seller gets nothing always, because that's how it was explained to them in the past, right? Wow. So you keep asking questions and digging to be like, what do they actually need? What do you not understand about SubTo that's going to make it where you realize it's actually is the right answer, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to yourself know it's the right answer first, and then lead an agent to being like, okay, no, it is the right answer. Mm-hmm. And then becomes much easier. And they like you because you're the one who actually explained it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've even taken the time to go and taken an agent to coffee. And then she's like, wait, could I buy houses this way? I was literally talking to an agent yesterday, and she's like, wait, there's an FHA client of mine and we want their property. And she was working through that. And I was like, yeah, I can help you. Like, let me help you. Of course, I'm going to charge a fee, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Carly, because you are an agent, and if there's any agents in the chats, talk to me. We could talk about maybe coming over to Real Broker where I'm in. But Carly said, it's amazing to me how many agents are not willing to have a conversation when there is a problem and when your buyer's trying to throw money at them. That's interesting.
Well, here's the thing, Carly, and it's like, did you ask them the question of, so there's a problem, what's the plan, right? Like, how are we going to, what is the plan? How are we going to solve it? I don't think people ask that question, because what you're doing there is you're forcing the agent to tell them a plan, right? Mm-hmm. If they have a plan, they almost never have a plan, first off. 95% of the time, what it is you are the 100th person to call them about a SubTo, right? Mm-hmm. And so 95% of them won't have a plan. Then they explain that they don't have a plan, and you're like, okay, do you want, I can give you a way where this client gets everything they want. Sorry, my camera's moving in and out. No, I'll stop. I can give you a plan, right? I know. What have you heard about SubTo that's that making you so defensive right now?
Perfect.
What have you heard in the past, right? These types of questions are the right ones to just start digging as to where the problem is. Yep. And then I get people want to help out their clients. Mm-hmm. Nobody, this isn't a thing, guys. Do you guys think there are just agents who are no, screw my client? I hate them, right? If they're like that, then the client is really screwing them somehow. And that's a whole nother story. My best deals are when the agents actually have a problem with the client as well. Fun fact. But
yeah, because then they just want to get rid of them. So they're fine, just throw me $1,000. I'm good. Yeah,
exactly. Or anything like that. So the point is that you got to realize the actual problem the agent has with you is that you're another annoying human being calling them. Right? And who the hell are you? Why are you calling me? Is what's subconsciously being communicated. And so what you have to do is what you're doing subconsciously there is saying, no, I'm not like every other human being. I'm actually here to solve a problem. I'm actually the legit. I'm not just some a-hole just trying to get a deal right now. Because that's the 99 other people who just called you.
That's right. So Carly asked, or she said, as an agent, I still offer to help people who are in a pinch with quick fixes in their properties. And sometimes I wonder if it's crossing the line. It absolutely is not crossing the line, but you do need to protect yourself as an agent. So when we do the listing agreement with our clients, we say what's included and what isn't included. And if there's anything that's not included, then it's something that they will be invoiced for at closing. So if there are like fixes and things that like for you, it's way beyond the listing agreement and maybe it hit $1,000 or something like that, then you'll definitely want to invoice and keep an accounting of it. So it's clear. Like I will remind my sellers like, hey, we've covered this and we've covered this for you. Document everything. No, just like calls are about it. You want to document it and you want to say, here's what we've spent for you. As per our agreement, this will be invoiced to you at closing because you're still helping them if they don't have the ability to get those things done. But that's my 2 cents. I do want to understand what's up with Maryland though. She said they have gnarly foreclosure rules, so I have to tread lightly. I always ask the situation if we can chat to talk about options to create a win. I'm likely not pushing hard enough. That's interesting. Do you know anything about rules out in now?
Yeah. I don't even know California rules, and I already know those are gnarly.
Yeah.
Like even though that's my market, right? I don't know Maryland at all.
Carly, come down to the come on down, and then Larry, you as well. Come on to the StreamYard. So those are the 2 people. Everybody else, I'm going to reject. But Carly and Larry, if you guys want to hop on, I would love to. I mean, we have more screen space. Caroline's not here with us, so we could definitely kind of work through. Again, back to Jonah, what Jonah was saying earlier. Make these people know that you're the expert. I was talking to a seller this time yesterday because I'm helping one of my group home buyers buy the property that he's renting from his seller or from his homeowner. And she's like, yeah, we searched YouTube for the things you told me and you came up. I was like, yeah, the algorithm is working.
There you go.
It was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. So anywho, we were talking about contract for deed and the differences there with that and like a straight deed transfer SubTo. Carly said it's illegal to approach anyone in pre-foreclosure without a foreclosure consultant license. You can get sued. Wow. I never knew that. We're always learning in this podcast.
You know what I also love about agents? I'm just going to throw it out there too. What's also great about agents?
Yes, tell me.
Is like if I'm contacting an agent for a deal, there's no like secret law that would be like, for instance, in Maryland, I would have never known if I started contacting pre-foreclosures, I could get sued. But if I start contacting agents who may have a pre-foreclosure deal, they by law have to be following the law, right? Their brokerage is going to be like, oh, we already contacted the foreclosure consultant license. We're good here, right? So I always know what I'm doing is super duper legal every single time, just because brokers aren't going to be wanting to be sued. So that's just like another plus.
Well, Carly, keep eating that lasagna. We'll talk to you on the podcast some other time. All right, we have Larry. I'm going to add him to the stream, and we're going to ask him about this deal that he has.
I'm live right now.
What's up, Larry? I saw you in Montana.
Hey. How are you, buddy? I saw both of you in Montana.
Yeah. I also saw Ingryd on Montana.
Yeah,
that's true.
Let me switch the screen over here so where the camera is, so I'm not looking on my second screen. All right.
So tell us a little bit about what's happening in Mesa. You don't have to give the so I don't know. Do you have access to see the private chat, Larry?
Yep.
Okay. So that's where we can share information. Oh, so one tidbit. One of the things that we're teaching are the people who are calling agents with us on Thursdays. Don't give out the full address when you're calling. It sounds like you're scripted. So like, hey, I'm calling about your property on Cherokee Way. Like that should be enough, not on 1234 West Cherokee Lane, you know, like that's
in Phoenix, Arizona, zip code 80218.
Oh no, never! I never do that.
Yeah,
that'd be really funny.
I know. Just some feedback because it was kind of funny how it all transpired. Okay, so do you have the agents? So give us a rundown. What do you need? Why do you need us to bring this home for you? What's happening?
Shoot, this was Aaron. But she said they might be open to it, and when she was really cool, we had a really good conversation.
Uh-huh.
I did it on my podcast yesterday. I was like 6.5 hours yesterday, and
Wow.
she was even like say, hey, this could work as a sober living, because if you look at the first two, where the windows are in the driveway, they converted that into like a home theater. Like it's got a pull down screen and one of the things up on the ceiling. But I asked if there was bus lines by there, and I might be confusing this. I'm really bad at taking notes when I call my agent. But I think they're moving to their parents. They have another child coming or something. I could be completely wrong about that. I might be confusing some couple of my calls, but she said they'd probably be open to it, because it's going to be more cash in their pocket, because they have a 3.11% interest FHA, and I think he said the rents in the neighborhoods were like 22 or 2,300, and their estimated loan payments is about 1,200.
Okay.
But they have 268 on the mortgage balance, but they got it listed at 399.
Okay. I do like, okay. So 268. And then they're looking to move. Why?
They're moving. I want to say they're moving to be with their parents in another state, and they're not in a rush of looking for another house.
Okay. So we haven't established whether or not they need everything of their equity in order to go buy another house.
Right. Yeah, because I told her that I could give her the more money, but I need better terms. And I said, we'd give it like 6 or 7% down payment on the equity.
Okay. Good. You're setting a baseline. That's good.
Yeah. And I totally, when me and Jonah talked in community camp, I still have a bad habit of pitching creative right away. I don't start with the cash, and I don't set up to another setup call, because I have a lot of learning still to do. But I do have really good conversation. I really make some good friends. Like yesterday, I talked to 5 agents in Phoenix area that never even heard of creative. I was like, what? One of them though, she was like, oh, I know Pace Morby and stuff. So I'm not afraid to drop names either.
Cool.
It's my style.
You don't live in Arizona though, right?
I will be in November.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Nice.
Right on. Cool. The reason I was asking, because when I was looking up the property, I noticed where it was, and right away I knew that it has limited services because, just being familiar with the area, and just how easterly it is. So, okay.
She said there was a bus line like a block away or something. Like,
yeah.
Or it might have been 2.
No, you're right. It's the 202 that's just east of it. We just have to figure out, like, do they have bus routes that go that far? But yeah, we could totally check it out. So what would you like me and Jonah to do for you?
Well, I was just gonna do a follow-up call, because I said I had a partner and I'd have to, underwrite it a little bit, which I just literally quit my job Monday that I was riding a bus like 5 hours to work 8 hours. But I needed that job to get to community camp and pay my rent when I got back. It was still do my podcast. It was crazy. I told the guy, hey, look, I need to start tomorrow, but in 5 days I'm going to go to Montana for a week. And can I use your internet and get my 2 15-minute breaks and my 30-minute break together so I can do my podcast at 12:30? And then
you don't have a library?
Well, no, I mean, it was just during the shift.
Uh-huh.
That's why I had to do it while I was work, because I rode 2 hours to work, and I said I want to put my 2 15 minutes, because I've been consistent on my 12:30.
Yeah.
That Monday through Friday.
Well, good for you. You were trying not to have any excuses. So Jonah, you want to take it? So whenever I see a PITI that's at least $1,000 from market rents, for me.
So wait, I want to start off with a few things. Do you mind me asking a few things?
So wait,
did you ever? So first off, because I'm looking at this deal right now, I'm looking at it. the person just moved away, right? And they just want to sell the house because they moved away. Did they move into another house? It sounds like you're a little confused as to the motivation.
Yeah, I am. I'm confusing the agents. I didn't take good notes last night.
So if I call this person, all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, I'm friends with Larry. What's the reason the seller is selling this house? Because that's basically what I'm going to say to them, because I need to understand that first, right?
Yeah.
I don't see how this would work as a cash deal. Just looking at it, it's a nice house. Like, it's pretty remodeled, right? It's sold for, they have $260 as their mortgage. And then they have, if 400 is a reasonable price at all for an end buyer, then they have 140K in equity, right? So we're going to have to make it where that SubTo works with a seller financing. It's going to be a hybrid deal, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So to make that work in and of itself is going to be probably very difficult. It's very likely if you add on the seller financing payments. I don't know Arizona that well. In my markets in California and Colorado, it's not going to work. Like, the houses are too expensive, right? And compared to the rental rates. I don't know about Arizona. Maybe there's a lot of high. I mean, if it was 0%, it's possible, right? But then we're dealing with an agent and a seller who's not insanely motivated, I don't think. But it depends completely on the motivation, right? So I am going to say this. What I want to add value to you, Larry, right now, since you're on the screen. What is your note-taking process? Let's solve that problem, because you want to be you actually want to be getting out of your job. You actually want to create a functioning business. I know that's your goal, right?
Yes.
I think the creative financing stuff, we can do it if you want me to, but I feel like it would be even more valuable to you is just quickly be like, what is your note-taking process? How can we make that better? Because if you actually have accurate notes so that when we bring you up on a podcast, you can be like, yeah, the seller is in pre-foreclosure. They owe $266. I have the mortgage balance right here. To be honest, and I'm just being frank with you because I want this to be known to other people. If somebody sent me that on an IG DM, I don't know the motivation. I kind of know the motivation. Here's the house. It's for sale on the market. Been there 13 days. I don't really remember if the motivation is there or not. And I look at the house and it's a nice house. I might not even respond because I want to be real with you because I don't have the time usually. And the reason is because you need to be taking notes on exactly what it is. So what I kind of want to do, if it's okay with you, Ingrid, is real quick, I'm going to give you, first off, do you know what to write down? Like, do you know what you're looking for? Like, do you know what are the real questions you need to know in order to do a creative financing deal or just a regular deal? Like, what should you know before you bring it to somebody like us? Do you have any idea? If you don't, it's okay. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm going to give it to everybody.
Yeah. Well, the first one should be, are they open to terms? Are they open?
That's one.
Right.
There's a lot of different questions.
Their motivation to sell. Why are they selling? Where are they going? How much money they need to get to the next place?
These are decent questions. I think they're good.
Yeah. Would just I always.
Here you go. I just put it in the chat because there's like 20 questions. There's like 12 questions. Sorry. There's 12 questions. I put them in the chat. I copy and paste this. This might not be the greatest way to do it. Are they open to creative? Are they open to terms? So the first part is for creative only. Like, if it's going to end up being a creative deal. Are they open to creative? Is there a mortgage? What's the balance? What's the PITI? Are there arrears? Is there an HOA? If you have a mortgage statement, can you send that to me? Did you already give them a cash offer?
No.
And then I would need all of that, and I would need it, and then I would go into, this is for cash and creative. What's the motivation of seller? Price, timeline to sell, condition. 4 pillars, Brent Daniels 4 pillars. Is it vacant? Are you talking to the listing agent? Is there no agent? What's the ARV? What are the comps you're using? What I would do is I would not respond. What I would do is I'd respond back with that and be like, get me all of this info and then come back to me. 95% of the time, what will happen is people will start getting that info and then realize, oh, wait, this doesn't make sense as it, because there's no motivation. There's the condition is whatever, right? That happens 90% of the time because what I think will be more valuable to you than us even calling this agent, even though we can't do that, is I really want to work on your note taking, you knowing what questions to ask or what information you need to gather, because that's going to get you way more deals than me talking to an agent that may or may not have a seller with motivation.
Yeah.
To be honest. That's how I feel, right? Jade's really funny on here. Jade's like, "Are you ever not frank, Jonah?" But yeah, I'm usually like it where I'm like, let's give you the most value for you right now. What is your note taking process?
That's because I do it live. I don't like to stop when don't want to stop and take notes as I'm talking to the agent, because I'm always just like, just want to keep the conversation flowing.
Why not? Why you don't feel like you can do both at the same time?
Yeah, a lot of the time. I kind of got to flow and talk. I kind of bounce over. Like I said, I cover most of all that in everything that during the conversation. But
then you won't remember it.
Exactly. And
then you're screwed. Because then you have no idea what to do, right? So right. I'm going to provide a solution to you. I don't know what your financial solution is, or financial situation is exactly. This is like my solution that I use, basically, is I have a CRM. It's for agent outreach. It actually auto-populates all those questions for you while you're talking to an agent, right? It literally, you're going to call the agent and all those questions will be there on the side, and you can literally just type right next to them. So as she's saying it, you type it, then you go down and then like listen, keep talking, and then you keep typing, right?
Right.
It's called Zapier. I'm going to just put it in the chat. Anybody can look it up. If you guys are interested in it, you can go to that website. That's the CRM I created. It's literally has all my templates, all my outreach that I use. It has support from my business partner, Tyler, who helped me create the entire system. I have a business that makes over $100K now a month with wholesaling fees, and it's through this system, right?
Yeah.
I would recommend
Jonah, though, the questions you have on there could just be put on a spreadsheet. So
of course.
And then every time you're calling someone, you're using copy paste into new columns, and you're asking those questions every time you're typing in while they're answering, or between calls you pause, you're scribbling stuff and you're pausing so that you can fill those things in.
Honestly, don't buy my system. Like I didn't want that to be a sales ad. What I'm saying is that for Larry, I was recommending it only because you have trouble taking notes. If you're broke and you're able to multitask, just copy and paste the questions I just put into the chat, write it, put it on a notepad, like a literal notepad, write it down, and then have it write down. Right? But the point is that the questions you need to be asking and getting.
Right. See, me and my partner Tigger, you guys know Tigger, right? She was at camp. Mm-hmm. We have Dustin Reina's unapologetic results, but neither of us know how to work it. With has the DTA build, but neither of us know how to work it or have time.
Well, that's pretty useless.
I know
that's pretty useless. Is like if you have a system you don't know how to use, you don't have any system. And then you just have things that you don't know whether they're deals or not. You're wasting your time like completely. Like you have no idea whether this is going to be anything whatsoever, right? Because you don't have a system right now, right? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying don't buy my system. You don't have to buy Zapier. I don't really care. It's only just that I have it set up where it has those questions there. Your system for now could be literally get a notepad, write out every single question, and then write the answer to it. Or copy and paste it in like an Evernote or like a notepad on the computer. The point is that your bigger issue as a business owner is having a system than being able to talk to agents. I can already tell, right? Like the fact that you're able to talk and have a conversation where you sort of get this stuff, where you get this information out, it's great, but it's completely useless if you don't take notes. My AC manager just screwed up a deal because he wasn't taking his notes. And I've gone to the point where I'm like, you know what? I've learned this. I'm not a parent, but there's a little lessons that I would know if I had a parent. And I'm like, you know what? I've told you this 15,000 times to take notes. let's just let you not take notes and see what happens. And he locked up a deal $100K higher than what he thought he was locking it up for, right? I'm like, huh, interesting about that. Now, he's a little embarrassed because he has to come back to me now and be like, hey, thought I was getting this for 220. I told you I was getting this for 220. Locked it up for 320. I didn't review the contract. I didn't have any notes on the price and all that. I'm like, and I'll be like, amazing. So what's going to happen from now on, right? But
what did we learn?
What did we learn, right? And it's okay. I'm not going to be like mad at him or anything like that, right? But it's really like note taking. I understand it sucks, but it's not going to screw up your flow. Yeah. Literally, you can tell the agents like, hey, I want to make sure, by the way, I want to make sure that I'm getting what we're talking about. Give me 5 seconds to write down what you just said. Is that like I'm going to write it down real quick.
And not just that, it's actually a function of listening. So one of the things you can do is say, okay, here's what I heard you say. Then you got your questions and you say, I heard you say your seller is moving. They need to be out by 30 days. They need at least $50,000 in their pocket in order to make a creative deal work. They're concerned to have the deed transfer, so we may need to think about other creative ways to address that. They don't want to be in that loan for more than 5 years. Did I hear you correctly? Did I name all the things? And then now that person feels validated that they've been heard, and you can leverage that for note taking. It's literally like, so I used to be a mediator in high school. That's literally all we did was ask questions and repeat the answers we heard. And the magic phrase that pays is, what I heard you say is, and then people feel validated that they've been heard. So Jonah, Terry wants to know, is your Zapier
system, can it be used? Right. So can it be used on other things other than agent outreach? In theory, it can. It's completely set up for agent outreach and micro flipping other wholesalers' deals. I would honestly say if you're doing direct to seller, don't use my system. It's not set up for you. In theory, you could create all the workflows and all the systems out of it. It's like a little bit, it's kind of like a sandbox CRM. It's based off Go High Level. There's a lot of CRMs based off Go High Level. There's REI Reply. That is one that's set up for direct to seller that I think would serve you better than mine if you're doing direct seller and you like the same system. Mine is really, really, really meant for agents. Like I literally am just, it's just my system, right? And I don't do direct to seller just because I don't want to personally.
Yeah.
So
very cool. Well, we may need to have you back, Jonah. What I'm hearing you
I'll
say.
come here anytime.
We're not. Are we going to call the agent, or what do you want to do? No, the no.
What time is it?
Game time. Huh? Sorry, I always call my husband.
I'll call the agent for you just to show you how I would do it, and I think that'll give a lot of value to people.
Yeah.
So let's just do it because I don't think it'll take too long.
I want to hear the agent king speak to an agent. I want to see what it's like.
Okay, let's do it. I wasn't sure who you were talking about for a second. I'm like, who's the agent king? I'm like, oh, that's me, I think. Okay, let's do this.
Thank you for the value, guys. I appreciate it.
Hold on a second. One thing we're going to need to do, because I need you guys to be able to hear it, and you guys aren't going to be able to hear it. Wait, no, I think you will be able to hear it. Hold on.
Okay, Larry, I'm going to put you on mute just in case, and then I'll put myself on mute when.
Okay, you guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, I'm just double checking. So her name's Erin. We got 1530 North Rowan.
You're not supposed to say it out loud.
Oh. It's okay, my bad. Anyways, here we go.
It's okay. It's too much equity in the deal. It's not going to work. Just kidding. Just kidding. You never know. And so now Jonah is calling the agent. He's getting ready. He's going to get her to the creative finish line. I'm just kidding. I always wanted to be a broadcaster when I was little. SubTo Drew keeps coming on here. Like, he's like, I'm gonna get in on this podcast. I see you, Andrew.
Okay. Double dial.
And then he goes for the double dial because he knows double dial is the new single dial. You can do this, Jonah. Up for par right here. Iron 6. You can do it. Well, she answered, no, it's dinner time. It's ringing a lot, so it's definitely dinner time. She left it upstairs in the bedroom. She's helping take care of the kids downstairs.
Brats. I could try one more time, but I don't think she's going to answer because I got a California number.
Oh, that could be why.
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, this deal, I'm not psyched about because, I mean, it's possible, you never know, but it really depends on if they have a problem, right? Like, just looking at it on the face of it, I wouldn't assume there's any problems. Looks in decent condition. There's equity, right? So like what you really want to be doing is focusing on either. How I do it is I just get a bunch of agents. I just want to know every agent in town because one of them is going to have a property that has a problem, right? Or some people do it where they go on the MLS, look for problem properties. But right now, what it sounds like more is you just brought up the idea of creative, and the agent is one of those cooler agents who's like, ooh, maybe that sounds interesting, right?
Yeah,
but
she was.
So it's more about building the relationship with the agent more than it is to getting this deal. So for you, Larry, it's how do you build that relationship because you found an open-minded agent, aka a unicorn agent, right?
I agree.
I found 4 yesterday.
Hey man, we're out here. We're out here living.
There are.
Yeah.
There are.
You speak our agent language and we'll give you anything. You know, it's all about how do you connect with agents. So, all right.
One yesterday, she said she had 2, or she had the one that called on wouldn't work, but she said she has 3 others. She's been an agent for 18 years. I mean, I literally found 4 good agents yesterday. Were open. They didn't know all about it, or they heard about it, but they haven't done a subject to deal.
Yeah.
And I'm good at building relationships. Should I just try? You want me to give her a call first? Just see, because I think she was supposed to send me a mortgage statement too.
You can. Maybe she'll answer your phone. If you want to do that, and then we can listen into your call.
Yeah.
But I want to see you note taking. Do you have a way to note take right now? Because I want to see you making notes while you make this call.
All right.
Oh, you have a notepad? Do you have the questions written down though? Like, do you remember the questions that you need to get?
Yeah, they're in the WordPad.
Okay. Because I want to see you try to take note taking on this. I want you to have the conversation, but even more importantly, I want you to be able to take notes because you're just not like you will never get a business if you don't know how to take notes. It just won't work. Right? And I get it. As visionaries, we don't want to do any of that, but we have to.
Okay.
Even Pace used to take notes. They were just all voice memos to Cody, and then Cody had to code them.
There you go.
I know there's no HOA because we talked about all that yesterday. And she was mentioning how the floors were redone.
You don't need it. Don't do this from your memory. Call her. Call her and then write it down.
All right. It's 5 there, right?
No, it is.
You have reached Erin Myrata.
Yeah, she's not.
I told you she left the phone in her bedroom. She's cooking dinner for family. That plays. I'm gonna hang up on that play-by-play.
Hey,
Yeah.
Aaron, Larry Parsons, give me a call back, please. We had a really good. It was a long conversation. I didn't take notes. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Take notes. I think that'll help you a lot more than even learning creative, to be honest. I think if creative will help a lot, but I think people will like forget the basics, and that's like a really basic thing that if you get that down, you're gonna be way more successful.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Larry. Oh, she
Yeah.
calling back?
No, that's Facebook Messenger. Somebody calling me on there.
Oh, all right. Thanks for joining us, and we're gonna close up with Jonah, okay?
Okay.
Bye, Larry.
So Jonah, we mostly covered the basics of creative and how to snag you a nice little agent with some nice little creative opportunities. I think one follow-up that we could do at some point are like, what are the common objections? So I kind of tried to cover a little. I think that's probably some of the things that I get a lot from.
You know what we really should do?
What's that? Tell me.
You know what would be real fun is I will, for you, Ingrid, because I love you, and I also love Caroline, I will get I'll find somebody to create a bunch of possible leads that would be really good for creative, and then I'll cold call them, and we'll do it live. How about that? Then we get everything, and we provide all the value. People love calls, right? That could be fun.
So I did a fundraiser like that last year for my friends. She is part of this group that feeds into American Cancer Society, and I cold called, and it's all live. It's all on my YouTube channel. It's like one of the very first ones I did. And what if we did a marathon agent calling, seller calling in the mainland? I'm going to say mainland, and here's where I'm going with this, to fundraise for Maui. What do you think?
That'd be sick. I'd be down. How does it work? How do you get, do they just donate when they feel like you said something cool, or how does that work?
Well, because you'll have an audience. You're getting a lot of Q&A. You're answering questions. And so you have the ability to give value, and then you're constantly saying, in exchange, please consider donating for the folks in Maui, or in my scenario, it was helping.
Maybe it's $5 a question. I don't know, maybe something like that.
That might be a good one. Like, hey,
$5 a question.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it, and let's.
I'm in. I love that stuff. I love charity stuff, and love you guys, and would love to do a fundraiser like that. Yeah. That'd be pretty fun.
So we had somebody join. Cora, you can message me if you'd like, but we're finalizing the stream because we're done with the podcast. Message me. So that link is still live. So anyway, Jonah, I do want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast and actually being here 20 minutes past the time due. I really appreciate you. I love how much you give and how much you're just always providing value. And I love that. And if only you could just swoop me up and take me to Colorado, because I love all those mountain views you keep posting.
Come through. Why haven't you come visit it? I visit you all the time in Phoenix.
I'm going to stay with you then. I'm going to stay with you if that's the case. But if you guys liked this, please make sure you're commenting, you're leaving a thumbs up, you're sharing this if you found value. Please go out there, take a snap picture, tag Jonah, and let him know how amazing he is. Always giving value. We appreciate him. And remember, we do this podcast every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Arizona time, the only time that matters in the standard time, because it never changes. Anyway, Explain It with Caroline and Ingrid. Caroline was taking care of business. She will be back with us next week as we talk to Kent who's going to talk about affordable housing, Section 8, things like that. I'm really, really excited to get him on the podcast and talking about how we can help solve the problem of affordability. So, yeah.
Love it.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.